Welcome back. Let's now talk about food and nutrition security for Nigerians. We're being joined in the program by the country representative, political director for Procom Plus, Mr. Adiye Ode. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Ode, thank you so much for coming on the program. Mr. Adiye, my apologies. Thank you for coming on the program.
For having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, madam. I'm particularly happy that it's a woman that is conversation with us because, you know, the maternal instinct is very strong to make sure that food is provided for family. If I have my way, I would advocate that going forward, Nigeria's ministers of agriculture should be women because, well, I don't want to go further than that, just because of that maternal instinct. But when you look at the food situation in the country and given the inflation number, whether rebased or the former one, I want you to assess the efforts made and what you're seeing as output and whether or not you're satisfied.
Well, I must say that this government has recognized the challenges with food security. That's one thing we would say, because very early on, they declared a state of emergency on food security. That's great, and there have been a lot of policies to address that, and that's great. But the truth is that you can say everything, you can have all the right policies, but if it's not making a change to the numbers of people who are food deficient, nutrient deficient, facing food insecurity, then there's still a problem. And I think the challenge is that we are addressing some of the symptoms, we're throwing palliatives at the problem, but we are not addressing the root causes of food insecurity. There's political instability, people have been driven off their farms, people cannot produce enough, the markets are not accessible to many people, there's exclusion in that. People cannot access infrastructure for various reasons, some of it because of the changes in the exchange rate, some of it because of the increase in fuel prices. So the fuel-based equipment they used to use, for instance, for irrigation, they can't afford those anymore. So it reduces agricultural productivity, it reduces incomes. For many families, it means that people have been taken off the land, they don't have incomes. So of course, they are not able to afford the food that they need. So that's a challenge. So it doesn't matter if you have the good policies, but if people cannot afford what food there is, and if there isn't sufficient food available, then that's a problem. Additionally, if it's not the right food. So if you have a child under 5, and every day you deliver a bowl of maize meal to the child, of course that child is going to be nutrient deficient. So that's a challenge. So we need to address the root causes of food insecurity in Nigeria. We need to increase agricultural productivity. We need to build resilient supply chains for food products.
Right.
We need to increase availability of nutrient-rich food that is affordable. So we need to provide all this.
And you know, it's not rocket science, really. When you look at some of these things, they look very straightforward. In fact, they use simplest of terms when describing the solutions. But when it's time to implement the solutions, then you realize that it's almost even more difficult than rocket science. I know Procom Plus is meant to be an 8-year program, I think 2023 to 2030, supported by the FCDO or the UK aid, as the case may be. You wonder, to what extent are we also learning from other climes? I know we can say we have the arable land, we have the human resources, But obviously something is missing. So what are some of the technologies beyond funding is great, right? But if there's anything we're learning or relearning, is that funding has not really achieved all of the things we had hoped the funding or aid would achieve. So some have said, let's get the technology. Let's be able to transfer technology beyond just funding. Let's have some, stability in these interventions. So what are some of the things that we're doing differently this time so we don't end up where we are right now with some of the other intervention programs?
Yeah, so some of the things we're doing, we're looking at solutions that can stand the test of time. And sustainability is something that we really, really want to put in place. And as you know, or you probably don't know, Procom Plus is a market-based program. So we use market systems approaches, market systems development approaches. We don't intervene directly in the market because when we are no longer there, we still want the market to function effectively. So we work through market facilitators, market intermediaries. We facilitate their proper functioning within the market. So some of the things we're doing, we've looked at access to climate smart seeds. Climate smart seeds that are drought resistant, seeds that really can withstand some of the changes in the environment and assure that farmers can be more resilient. So some of these seeds are not easily available to farmers. We're improving access, working with seed companies like Premier Seeds, Value Seeds, who use people within the farming communities. We call them community seed multipliers. So they use them, they contract them to multiply seeds within the communities, and then they buy the seeds from them. Those multipliers are demonstration farms, but they're also getting the seeds that they plant from the seed companies. So the quality is assured. They also use rural seed promoters. So they are people within the communities, maybe people who sell agricultural inputs. They are known to the farmers. So we're bringing the seeds to the doorstep of the farmers, and we are also assuring the quality of those seeds. Now, when you look at...
All right, these seeds, madam,
yes.
Are they genetically engineered seeds, biofortified seeds?
You've used two phrases like they are interchangeable, but they are not, and I don't want to go into the science of that. We are looking at biofortified seeds as well as other seeds that are not necessarily, that are not biofortified, but some of them are biofortified seeds, but they are not genetically modified seeds.
Okay, so for some
beyond that, we...
Go ahead, land on that thought.
Yes, we are also working on the livestock, in the livestock sector. We are increasing the supply of vaccines. One of the biggest challenges for the poultry industry, for the small ruminant industry, is disease such as the peste do petit ruminante, as well as Newcastle disease, which devastates our flocks and yes, our flocks. Right. So we're working with the National Vet Research Institute to increase the supply of vaccines by 600%. So hopefully by the end of this year, the vaccine supply should increase. But beyond that, we are also looking to work with the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development to privatize the vaccine development in Nigeria, because it's the capacity of the NVR is just not sufficient. And we also want
okay, madam, because of the luxury of time,
as a commercial enterprise. I'm sorry?
Just because of time, we apologize. We know you have a lot to say as part this particular conversation is concerned, but time, just for want of time. Must thank you so much, and we thank you for the work you're doing and continue to do. Country representative and political director for Procom Plus, Mrs. Adiya Ode. Thank you, madam, for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. So we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, that very conversation that Bukola talked about the incident in Osun State that happened on Monday, but there are ripple effects. We'll want to talk about it today on the program after this break. Join us again.